So this is what we start with on the landing page for your virtual event. So when you come on board with us and you decide that you want to go ahead and take your event virtually due to what is going on in the world at the moment and then maybe further in the future, we can have this turned around within 2 weeks of everything being agreed. So this will allow you to have the maximum potential to allow people to register from the point this goes live up to the day of your event. So this could be 2 weeks, this could be 8 weeks of being able to allow people to come over to this site and register. It is fully customizable in terms of the logos and images that you decide that you would like to add, and all of the information that may be beneficial for the potential visitors to your events. All of the events are compatible across all devices, so PCs, tablets and phones, and work just as well with no plugins along them all, whether that is Apple or Android. So it makes it very easy for the visitor experience to allow everybody to get the maximum potential of information. In addition to this, unlike at a physical event, I would be able to return back to your event up to 30 days after. This could be a place for key opportunity for sponsors to be able to label their products, label their brand, and also allow you to be able to give as much information as you'd like, whether that is include an agenda, so then people know exactly who will be on and what will be happening on the day. All our events will remain open for 30 days after the live day or live days, and this is to allow the maximum amount of reach. So if I was at a physical event, I may miss out on some key information or may miss out on speaking to somebody, and I will touch on this a little bit more as we go through the event, as I believe it's a key point that would allow me to come back to this event after the live day is finished, which then would not only allow me to gather as much information as I'd like, but it would also allow you to be able to gather a wider source of leads and whatnot. So as I then just quickly jump on here now in terms of how we would allow people to register for the event. Here we can also customize this to gather as much information as you would need to find for these events. Also, when they do come over here to log in, they would then put their email in, they would click login at the top and enter their password, and they would then enter into the lobby area. The lobby area has 15 different set designs to choose from, and it is from here where we then would start to gather the information from the people that are visiting your event. So every time they click, we would record that. From these different set designs, they can be fully customizable, from in regards to the avatars on the screen, to the hyperlinks and potential logos or an agenda up here. And even with this, the attention to detail in even having a glare and a reflection in the window. And then with this being a winter event, we've had this having snowy trees. And all this can be changed and suited for your event to give it out to have the potential to replicate what you would have at a physical event. And these are things I will touch on a little bit later on. As we go through here, the last point, which I believe is one of the most important points for your event, is the information desk. And at this information desk, we will give you one of our employees on the day to supply technical support, and is a constant point of contact, not only for yourselves, but then also for your visitors of the event that may need just that little bit of assistance of being able to find an area, find when this thing is, or just some of the most general information. Now I would like to take you back into the lobby and enter our auditorium functions. In terms of our auditoriums, we can do this from as simple as a pre-recorded video up to replicating a physical live event and using it as a hybrid by streaming a live talk on stage, or by having pre-recorded content set to play at certain times. Just to give you a little bit more of information and guidance on this, as we've got your on-demand content like this, where it would be more of a pre-recorded maybe presentation with a voiceover such as this, or we have ones which could be pre-recorded and set to play at a certain time. So I would know that if at 10 o'clock I wanted to come and watch this video, I would be able to come and watch this. All of these videos will be on demand for up to the period of the time that the event is still open after the live day, to allow me to come back and regain any content that I may have missed. We can do these in such a certain way like this, or we can do the ones where we have a live Q&A or live polling going alongside. This could either be live or pre-recorded, And then we can also go as far as having different tracks run alongside. So we could have up to 10 different parallel tracks. And just to try and give a little bit more of an example of this, we have one here. So in terms of the auditorium, we would go in and select what time zone I would like to view. We would then be able to go into it even further by even incorporating other languages into this, by being able to pick which language I would like to see. And then from there may be a number of different tracks or different videos that I may want to view. And from this, I would be able to maybe watch this one live and join a Q&A chat room session to be able to send messages, and we could have a moderator. But in addition to this, there may be another video that is on at the same time that I'd be interested in watching, but may want to go back later. And this would allow me to do so. So it wouldn't mean I have to be in 2 places at once. So once this is done, I would then be able to go back and then rewatch a certain video that has been played. So these can be pre-recorded content, on-demand content, live content, or even those pre-recorded content that play at a certain time to act as if they are live. This allows it to suit for whatever content you may have to put on. But in addition to this, in terms of your pre-recorded content, you can have an unlimited amount of this. In regards to the different tracks, we can have up to 4,000 people watching one video at a time. If you were, say, to have up to 5 tracks running, you could have 2,000 people in each track. And then them 2,000 people could leave that video and then return and watch a different video at a later date. Also, when you have a live webinar session play, which we are able to do also, whether that is live keynote speakers on stage being streamed, or whether it's people sat in the comfort of their own home speaking into their camera, once they have been live, within 2 hours, we then put them back on in demand to allow people to then regain the information or rewatch the information in case they have missed it. With this, there is no plugins to make it easy for the visitor. And we can do this with being able to give you assistance. So we will not just expect you to be able to do this on yourself. We would be able, using project management, to be able to allow you to have training to allow the speakers to be given all the assistance they need to make sure that the days run as successful as possible. Moving on from this point now, I do want to go more into the chat function, but this can be done via whether it is through the Q&A chat session like I've showed you there, whether it's through a lounge area which takes formalities away, or whether it's through an expedition style booth. So in the expedition style booth, the topic of conversation will be around either that company, that product, whereas this area in terms of the lounge will be key for networking. It will allow visitors to speak amongst themselves. It will allow exhibitors and speakers to speak amongst themselves with everybody involved. Here we can do styles such as a meet and greet, which I do really like the way that this one is set out. So they've added a document in terms of an agenda here. So I know if I wanted to speak to this gentleman that I would have to come into this chat between these hours. Within that period of time, I could go to even reserve a time slot with them to speak to them at a later time, or I could speak to them in somewhat of a group chat setting, or whether it is through a private one-to-one chat. In terms of the pre-recorded content and the pre-arranged chat slots, this is where we are able to allow the moderators to be able to pick and choose as and when they are able to speak to people. And it also will allow them to be able to connect with one another outside of this event by exchanging information. So it is great for reaching out. Now moving forward and going more into your expedition booths, which is something that can be great whether you've got sponsors, whether you are trying to give information over certain different areas. And what we can do with this is we can do these in a number of different styles. So whether it's something like this where you navigate between the different areas, we also can do a bird's eye view. So all of the expedition booths are in one place to be able to be viewed. Whereas here, I do like the way that this one is done. So again, we have a chat room function to be able to speak to this person here. We also have the ability to have videos, to have content or hyperlinks that will take you away from the event to the website for the sponsor or the speaker. And then also not only a list of other videos, social media links and branding, but also documents here. if I was interested in this document, I would be able to not only view it on the event or return back to the event to view it, but I would be able to add it up to my bag. Once I've taken all the resources and all the content from all the different booths that we've gone through throughout the day, I would then be able to go in at the end, see my bag, see all the content in which I have gained, put my email in at the top and send it all over to myself in one nice key place. So it's a great way of being able to exchange information, not only just for the visitors, but also for the people who are on these booths as well. Then what will happen here is, although we keep these open, so these, just like the videos, will be available for the period of time after the event that you decide to keep your event open. What we then will do is we will then allow you to get all the statistics. So as I mentioned before, every time something is clicked on, we will be able to tally that for you. And not only just in terms of times that things are clicked on, but even the duration that a video is watched. So if it was for a potential certificate, so if I attended this talk and watched this talk, I would get a certificate for attending that. It would allow you to be able to monitor who exactly has watched that video from start to finish and not just done something as simple as entered this video here and then clicked off it here. Now going into some of just the little key features that we also have would be more of the customizability of these events. So again, as you saw in the lobby area of this event, we have the snowy trees, but we now have them again in the lobby area. Just going back to show you how our designs can be completely changed around, we have got a lobby area in terms of this page here, in addition to one here, which I would like to show you. As I do log into these events, it is great for me to inform you how different these look by just using the same design, by just the smallest of tweaks that have been made. So as you can see here, as I mentioned, in terms of the avatars being able to move around, we've been able to do that again with having your help desk again and hyperlinks up here for potential sponsors or maybe an agenda. What we also have the ability to do is if you just keep your eye on the background here, we would move over into this expedition here, which will use the same backdrop but change it ever so slightly. By instead of having the hyperlinks and the small logos, we just have one big banner for the event. In addition to this, the information booth has just been moved slightly, and then also the avatars have been changed. And it's just some of the key little functions in which we are able to adjust these events to suit whatever it is and how you want it to look. As I have mentioned in regards to some little extras that we may have, we also have a gamification zone, which is good for being able to get people to move around the event and go around where you want them to see. So to allow a really big impact on engagement, you could have a point system where people create points and get points for attending certain aspects of the event. But then we also have a scavenger hunt, which will then allow you to drive people around the event. So here, being a winter event, they added winter objects. And as we then go through the event, I will be able to find these hidden around in all different areas of the events to be able to try and win myself a prize. And then after this event has been closed, and what we will then do is we will tally up the information for you, and then we will be able to then send you over a breakdown of not only who has attended the event, but also where they have attended. So like who has watched what video and for the duration that they've watched that video, but who has downloaded what document. So you can use that for your potential marketing for future information.